Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time featuring in the top right hand side Geeden, our blue Zerg, and in the bottom left we have his opponent, EternityYosh, our red Protoss. Both players are in Masters. We're on Whirlwind, and it is a Protoss versus Zerg. Absolutely fantastic matchup. I love big maps, and I love Alien Wars. I have to say my favorite matchup is Terran versus Zerg, just because it reminds me of Starship Troopers. It's very dynamic. You've got the drops, and you've got the incredibly speedy Zerglings, and all the back and forth and meta-ish of it. However, Protoss versus Zerg is quite a spectacle to behold. It's very cat and mouse. It's very shy. Both players love to macro. Both players really like to get up that death ball and a booming economy. But then you have the dynamic of just the Zerg throwing wave after wave against this superior force from Protoss, but just the war of attrition that's coming down. Oh man, it's exciting. I like it a lot, and we're lucky because Whirlwind will definitely favor that sort of gameplay, because you have the main, which is right by the natural, and then the third, while it is a little bit more exposed, you do have a narrower choke and a very short pathway leading from the natural to the third. So all things considered, and just the size of the sheer size of the map, this definitely is a bit more of a macro map than normal. Super early probe scout coming out from EternityYosh. We also see that the hatchery is just now getting started from Geeden. So both players are beginning to look like they want to take an early expansion. And I say that not because EternityYosh is sending out a probe. He's going to be throwing out a pylon on the low ground, but because of this right here. There's no wall off to speak of, and that's suicide for Protoss. And the wall off is going to start right down here. Yosh is going to be relying on the sheer size of this map, the sheer size of this rush distance. And you'll note that he hasn't constructed anything on the bottom side until he's actually found the enemy base. And I love that. I absolutely love that. And so he's got the pylon on the low ground. He's beginning to bank quite a lot of money, which tells me it's going to be a Nexus first build out of him. He sees that the hatchery is down first. He sees that the spawning pool is way away from being done. Throws down a pylon right in a very peculiar location. I like this. I like this a lot, because the forge hasn't even been started yet. This is not a cannon rush. Oh, but he is eliciting a very strong response from Geeden, and the resources lost is going to be absolutely brutal, and as far as mining time is concerned. And did you notice that move? The drones were coming in from here, the drones were coming in from here, so there was really nowhere for the probe to go. So he cancels the pylon and then just sneaks his probe right through the gap that he created. That was a brutally good unit control play coming out of EternityYosh, and Geeden has got to be happy, you know, that he got the hatchery down first. He didn't have to deal with a pylon block or anything like that. But on the other side of things, Yosh has his Nexus up, and he's going to begin to start working on that wall off back at home. He's got the Cybernetics core started. He's still on just one gas, which is kind of weird. Usually you expect to see a second gas, but this is because Yosh got that super early Nexus. He needs the extra mineral income because he's got so many probes working. He's got a really nice saturation on all of these mineral patches. Nice mineral income. He's going to be working on the saturation down at his own natural once this wall off is complete. Another gateway being thrown in a forge, probably something else up here, probably another gateway, just to finish off that wall off. Speaking of economy, we've got a drone positioning down by the third. Geeden is almost got enough money to throw down that hatchery, and there he goes indeed. Harvester count pretty much neck and neck. We're going to see this boom in the favor of Geeden once he gets up that third hatchery, that third mineral line up and running. Throwing up the first gas just to start working on the tech. Needs speed up, especially whenever a map is this just enormous size. Zerg speed is crucial whenever you're trying to work with map control, because there's so many different places for the Protoss to hide a proxy pylon, and you need to be able to scout those places very rapidly so that you can shut down that pressure. Robotics facility being snapped up by Yosh, which is weird. That's not weird. It's unexpected. You expect to see more gas. We have the forge out, we have the Cybernetics core out, we have 3 gateways out. You definitely need 2 gas if you're going to be working on an upgrade and a robotics facility. We're going to see that gas being thrown down in a very short amount of time, I'm sure. However, it's nice to see that this infrastructure is being constructed before the gas is being thrown down. That means that Yosh is focusing more on the economy first, getting his infrastructure up, and he's very secure in this build. He realizes that he's not constructing anything off of this gateway. He can hold off whatever pressure is coming out of Geeden because he's very comfortable and familiar with the Zerg right now. He knows that everything on the production tab is going to be infrastructure and drones, and that's exactly what's happening. Geeden is getting up his infrastructure. He's getting that third gas down at the natural. He's already grabbed both gas back at home. Double Evo chamber and a Roach Warren going up. Speed is done? Speed is not done. Speed's not even started. What am I thinking? He's got quite a lot of gas, though. What is he going to use that on? I really want to see speed started, and I'm assuming that I'm missing something on that because he's got so much extra gas. There's really no reason to spin that down unless he's really trying to saturate those areas very rapidly. Producing 3 roaches right now, and I just don't understand that. I don't understand that. I want that tech out first. And yeah, it's not constructed yet at all. I don't know. I think Geeden might be a little nervous right now, actually. I think he might be worried about some sort of impending push from Yosh. What exactly has he scouted, if anything? He hasn't suicided into the main base. He sees the double gateways down by the main base. He sees that this Nexus is fully mining and is getting an extra gas. 4 gases total. Second Immortal pops out of the robotics facility, and all of this force is beginning to push out. This right here, not an intimidating force. This is, because we have so many gateways back at home. 7 gates total, if I'm not mistaken. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is 7. Yeah. 7 gates total. All of them are going to be supported off of that proxy pylon. Without speed, there was no chance for Geeden to scout that, and even if he did, there's no chance for him to surround this. This is going to hit like a ton of bricks, especially if it's pushing up into the third, which is just now fully saturated. Oh no. There are a handful of roaches out on the field right now. Creep hasn't quite managed to connect the 2 bases, but that's okay. While Geeden is letting all these drones just continue to work, I think he's hoping that he can push in with his roaches. 9 on the production tab right now. It's just waiting for +1/+1 to finish. Metabolic boost also not finishing. Oh no, the drones on the move command trying to escape. Unfortunately, they just run right into that wall of zealots. 18 workers killed going down. The roaches pushing forward. They're going to be able to catch an immortal off guard, focus it down. Yeah, more than a handful of roaches are going to go down, but the loss of an immortal is far better for Geeden. He really wanted that to happen. He really wanted to be able to pick that immortal off before it can get protected by this meat shield of all of those zealots. Geden's going to get pushed back, but I don't think EternityYosh has enough to actually break this. 4 more roaches on the production tab. Quite a lot of Zerglings being produced right now. The glial reconstitution is going to be finishing, so those roaches are going to be moving very, very rapidly. +1 is done for the Zerg army, as well as for the Protoss, I believe. Let me... Yeah. Yes, +1 for both players, but +1 armor and +2 weapons being produced right now. Here comes the push. Handful of sentries thrown into the mix to throw down a couple of force fields, but these zealots are going to be absolutely melting away from the combined fire of all of those roaches. Being very cost effective against the Zerglings, though. There goes the time bomb on top of those roaches. Really don't want to engage in there. They're so slow as it is. Having to push back, though, with no zealots left to defend the sentries, and the stalkers are left exposed to the surround of the Zerglings, and all the immortals have gone down, so the roaches are having their way with EternityYosh's force. We can see the resources lost tab is beginning to stabilize. Yeah, and it was so heavily in the favor of EternityYosh just a short time ago, and now it's pretty much even. Pretty much even, because Geeden took that really nice engagement because Yosh was just being a little bit too ballsy. Also, unexpectedly, is the fact that Yosh has not elected to take a third yet. He's being incredibly aggressive, but Geeden responded appropriately with a very nice force, and has succeeded in pushing Yosh all the way back home. And since Yosh did not grab that land grab, there's really not a lot that he won off of that, except keeping Zerg back on 3 bases. But Geden's going to be able to reconstruct that hatchery, re-macro very quickly. Really, the most devastating loss was the 18 drones that got cut down. I don't think I can undercount how devastating that actually is to the Protoss to lose that many working units in such just a ravaging blow. Yeah, the resources lost tab is pretty much even, but no, that is incredibly brutal. Nice little tech switch coming up here for Yoshi. Still just got 1 robotics facility, but a Twilight Council being thrown into the mix. Maybe he's going to be working on charge because he seems to be heavily favoring the Zealots, and that composition is really working for him. A Stargate also on the production tab. Probably not for Void Rays, probably for Phoenixes, just given the size of the map. You really want to go Overlord hunting, because we can see that there's 2 of them really far afield, and then several more pooping out creep. definitely at the edge of the base. Another forge being added onto the mix so that we can work on those +3/+3. Extended thermal lance being started, as well as that third. Yosh is going to be taking a bit more of a defensive stance right now, and there's not a lot that Geeden can do about it. Geeden really needs to recover his economy, and he's doubling down, which is absolutely appropriate. Definitely want to get that hatchery up. He's got an infestor pit on the way. Probably going to be thinking about working on hive tech, just given the upgrades that he's already gotten. He's gotten +2 weapons already, which is really going to be working in his favor if he gets those ultralisks out. And ultralisks are so incredibly powerful right now that I really like to add them into pretty much any mix that I can think of. 2 more gateways being thrown into the mix again. Just adding to the fact that I really think that we're going to see charge coming out of the Twilight Council. But it could be something else. Maybe he wants to get the Templar Archives, get the Archons out into the mix because they work so very, very nicely with the Zealots. The third has been taken by Yosh. Speaking of third, that has been fully saturated by Geeden for a little while now. And the fourth has been taken, 72 Harvesters out. So I think Geeden is going to be switching into a bit more of an aggressive posture. He's got so much gas saved up. What is he going to send on that gas? 15 drones on the production tab. Oh my goodness. And this is what I'm talking about with the speed of those Zerglings. He's got a nice map control right now. Good map awareness. He's going to know whenever Yosh decides to push out with this standing force. But Yosh has factored in quite a lot more sentries into his unit composition than he had originally, and those force fields are really going to provide a deciding edge whenever this attack actually begins. Whirlwind's weird. It's really, really big, but you don't have a lot of open areas. Everything's pretty much cut up, and those force fields cannot be undervalued. 32 more Zerglings on the production tab, but those Zerglings are going to have a hard time against the extended thermal lance that is done on the Colossus, as well as the Templar Archive, which is going to be coming out. That is a lot of AoE. Oh, the Warp Prism dropping down a handful of Zealots, taking just a little bit of damage, really dealing damage to the economy. We can see that the 18 workers killed actually totally even, so I guess he didn't kill any of those drones. I wonder if this was oversaturated. I didn't catch the number. Oh no! Oh no! 50 workers killed, and that number skyrockets up to 63. Once again, just devastating damage to the economy. Doesn't even bother to take out the hatchery. What are you going to build out of it? You can't. You don't have any money. Here we go again. Those Zealots pushing in, so many Banelings just instantly melting away the standing force from Yosh, but that's okay. He's just done so much damage to the economy of the Zerg that even though the Zerg has a massive standing force, there's really not a lot that Geeden can do just to continue to pressure him. The single Colossus does indeed go down, but I think Yosh is done for the time being, having succeeded in taking down the fourth with another round of Warpins in the bottom right, and also crushing everything, all the hopes and dreams that Geeden had for ever having a third. This is absolutely brutal. 2 more Stargates being thrown into the mix. I think we're going to start to see a transition into the Void Rays later on. We can see that the Carapace is on the way, the Chitinous plating for the Ultralisks, so we do see that transition coming out of Geeden, but really without the economy to support those Ultralisks, I don't see Geeden amassing a number necessary to actually deal with this. The Phoenix is playing their role, not really playing their role actually. They haven't flown around and actually dealt any damage to the Overlords. I think the Phoenixes were more of a placeholder in case Geeden decided to transition into the Mutalisks. Having those Phoenixes out to kind of deal with that harassment is very, very powerful. Speaking of harassment, the Zerglings get a nice surround and a cancel on the Nexus and quickly retreat. Geeden needs to do this kind of shadow strike tactic for the foreseeable future. He cannot win a direct engagement with Yosh just because his economy is in tatters. Look at all that bank being saved up right now. Really weird because, okay, yeah, spinning down 10 Zealots, a very good decision there because we weren't anywhere near supply blocked. Another Warp Prism drop going on. That's where the 9 Zealots are being produced right now. Good surround with all those Zerglings, but that's okay because the Zealots are also working on that hive. And with the, are we on +3 yet? No, we're just on +2. But +3 is on the production tab. It's going to be finishing up very, very soon. The Zealots doing a number on the Zerglings, but nothing else, and that's okay because Geeden can afford to lose Zerglings. What he can't afford to do is get another hit to the economy. The Ultralisks are now out on the field, but he's still just on 3 bases. His hive is pretty much totally desaturated. It's been pretty much used up completely. He needs to saturate this fourth, which will become his third, so that his economy can actually get rolling again. He's so starved for minerals. I feel sorry for him because he finally has the unit composition up that he wanted from the beginning. He's got those Ultralisks up. He just wants to win. He just wants to get out there and start doing the AoE that the Ultralisks afford him, but he can't afford to do it. He can only afford a handful of the Ultralisks, and really, if Yosh begins to steamroll him, which is what I'm expecting, we're just going to see the small force that Geeden has managed to amass melt away almost instantaneously. We see a Spire on the production tab, a little late. He's going to be able to spin down quite a lot of gas very, very quickly because of that Spire, and maybe he can score a handful of hits on the economy, which would definitely be a boon to him. But those Mutalisks aren't going to be any help at all in a direct engagement because the Archons are just going to melt them away, and there's plenty of Stalkers on the field to support them. So yeah, Mutalisks will be great as far as harassment is concerned, but it's not going to help once Yosh hits 200 over 200, which he's at 194. So those Mutalisks, if they do decide to pop out, won't be doing too much help. Obviously, he could get some Corruptors out to start dealing some damage to the Void Rays and the Colossus, but again, the Archons and the Stalkers will make it so that they're not very helpful in a direct engagement. The Phoenix is scouting around, finally doing some damage to all of those overlords in the area, but Yosh at 194 supply is moving out with so many Archons, so many Colossus, that there's really not a lot that Geeden can do. He's finally getting out those Ultralisks. He's got a more healthy amount, and those Ultralisks do have quite a lot of upgrades. 5 for the armor, 3 for the weapons. So this will definitely be a fight, but I expect it to go in the favor of Yosh just because he's got so much as far as the economy advantage is concerned, and he's got so much momentum. Just needs to engage in the choke, make it so his all Archons are leading, and really just go blow to blow in the slugging match. Here comes the Ultralisks getting in. There is no choke at all, really engaging in an open area. Unfortunately, the Archons just fall on top of all those Stalkers, really melting them away. Geeden having the picture-perfect engagement that you just really, really need. However, the combined fire of all those Void Rays really just using their prismatic alignment to do extra damage to those armor units. Yosh survives, albeit barely, with a standing force necessary to take down that third one more time. Poor Geeden. He just can't stay ahead in this economic race. The fifth has been taken by Yosh, and really this is where you'd expect Protoss. You'd expect these roles to be reversed. You'd expect for Zerg to be up and be trading a base with the Protoss. However, so many Zerglings on the field with their speed, they're going to be able to chase down all of these Stalkers, maybe manage to take down this base, but with so many Archons going to be producing from these High Templars. Where's the Storms? I don't think he even researched the amulet. I don't think he can throw those Storms down, but the Archons being produced with their AoE damage should be able to clean up these Zerglings without the loss of that hatchery, and with the continued aggression of the Phoenixes, I really feel like Geeden should just tap out. He's got 11 Mutalisks on the production field, and those Mutalisks will be very handy against everything except for the Archons. With so many different mineral lines for Yosh to protect against these Mutalisks, Gedeen's basically going to have a field day, but with his inability to re-macro, he's only got one base that he's mining right now. You switch over to the economics tab, he's got 70 harvesters and 700 mineral income. Yosh is just going to have to cherry pick all of these different hatcheries, and once he finds the one on the bottom right hand side, this game is done. Gedeen's Mutalisks, where are they? They were dealing with those Phoenixes. 4 more Mutalisks on the production tab. Look at all that extra gas just kind of hanging around. Yosh really just constant abuse in every corner of the map. It's very difficult to keep up with this sort of very fast-paced play, and I feel like Geeden feels the same way. We see a dead silent production tab right now, but it's because so much has been mined already. The third is beginning to get mined out. 3 Phoenixes are on the production tab, but that's because he just has to deal with this flight of Mutalisks, and that's really all that Geeden has. He's spending so much money on gas right now, which is a very wise tech switch, because that's really all he has. Just gas, not a lot of money. Not a lot of economy at all. The Mutalisks trying to focus down the pylon, but there's another one, and it looks like the first one goes unpowered. Finally, the photon cannon falls also. Will he focus down the other pylon? Not in time for the Phoenixes to arrive. Really an engagement that he can't win, and just because the unit control from Yosh has been really top drawer. Geeden just managing to score 1 or 2 hits on the retreat, but these Phoenixes, by and large, winning the engagement. 11 more Mutalisks on the production tab. Gedeen's getting a very large force of Mutalisks, but there's really not a lot ground-wise that he can do to stop this force. And once Yosh realizes this, once Yosh realizes that there's really nothing on the ground that can stop him, he's just going to 1A up into here and take out the infrastructure that's actually producing those Mutalisks. And from there, he's got 3 Phoenixes on the production tab. He's got a lot of Phoenixes out on the field right now, which are chasing these Mutalisks down, so there's not a lot that those Mutalisks can do for a hidden field. A really bad engagement for Yosh, though, sticking around, trying to do some extra damage to those Phoenixes. Unfortunately, Phoenixes are only better than Mutalisks whenever you factor in the range, and then it requires quite a lot of APM, requires quite a lot of attention. Oh, the Archons start to do its AoE damage, doing quite a lot of damage on all those Mutalisks, forcing the, not really retreat, the aggressive posture. The photon cannons have been rebuilt. Those Phoenixes are caught between a rock and a hard place. The Archons are closing in from the top right-hand side. The Phoenix numbers are very, very small, actually. Geeden is really kept on top of the Phoenix numbers, really kept on top of his APM. Basically, he's only controlling these Mutalisks, producing 14 more back at home. Absolutely fantastic. And remember, these Mutalisks continually regenerate their hit points. They do quite a lot of extra damage in the long run because they're just continually staying alive. Yosh, again, I feel like he's not using this force to his fullest of potentials. He's got enough energy now to throw down those storms. I think that's what he's hoping for, is just a really, really beautiful storm right on top of those Mutalisks. Here comes a wing of Phoenixes right now, throwing down volley after volley on those Mutalisks. Those Mutalisks just want one extra volley on top of them, but no. Seeing that Yosh has decided to attack, seeing that Yosh is deciding to move off into the top right-hand side, that his infrastructure is going to fall very, very quickly. I think Geeden has had enough and actually GG's out. He had a very intimidating force, quite a lot of Mutalisks, and the number of Phoenixes were definitely being kept in check, but with 5 more on the production tab, with the range being produced on the Phoenixes, I think Geeden was just going to continue to slide. Hats off to Geeden, though, for sticking in this game far longer than I expected. I mean, with the loss of his third twice, with this number that exists in this matchup compared to that one, with the fact that Protoss had so many different bases, Geeden is a tenacious little bugger, and that is absolutely fantastic. Yosh knows exactly what he's doing. This is actually, when he posted this, he said that this was a build used by Naniwa, I think. I don't know. A build used by a pro, and it definitely looks fantastic. I really like the constant aggression. It's not something you expect from Protoss, and he made it work like no one else's business. And then factoring in the warp prisms, doing quite a lot of damage, the dual prong to the 4th and the 3rd, getting the hatchery, and then just the brutal slaughter of all those drones, keeping Geeden on the back foot on the economy, it was incredible. It was really, really good. You guys are really, really good people for watching my replay, so if you have a game you want me to cast, you could PM me here or on Reddit. One way or another, I will see you guys later. I am Ibigandscary. Bye.